Welcome to today's video. I'm going to go through some of the things we noticed with the Stelvio once we got it and what we're going to do about those things. They were a surprise to us. I did ask the dealer that sold it to us to give me video, and I asked a lot of questions, and I looked at the Carfax and we looked at photographs, and it still wasn't enough to really determine the quality of some of the parts of the car. And the dealer said they were going to send it to auction. They didn't notice any of these things that I obviously noticed right away, which was surprising. And it was a high-end dealership, like dealing in a luxury brand. And I assumed that they would do good by their review of the car and stuff, but apparently that was not the case. But once again, the onus is on me to get the car inspected if I wanted to. We decided not to. It's an under $20,000 car for us. And so we figured we could roll the dice a little bit. We were just surprised at the condition of certain parts of the car were when we got it in our possession. So I'm going to go through that today, some of those things, what those issues were, how we're addressing them, and so forth. And hopefully this will be informative for you. So come along for the journey. Thank you so much. So funny story, I'm taking the Stelvio to go get it registered because we did not get a temp tag with it. I go to start it and it says, I'll show you what it says. Key fob not detected. So all I can think is that the key fob is dead because it doesn't do any of the things. So now I don't have the other key fob. She has the other key fob. So now I gotta either go get a new battery or I gotta go get the key fob. It's always something, you know. Okay, I think I'm just going to replace the battery. I was able to get it out. There's a video on this. I'm not going to redo the video because it was a pretty good video on YouTube. But basically, you just pop this off. There's a little holder here. Now, what was interesting is that there was a random key that I have since lost. Oh, there it is. There's a random key in the glove box. Oh, by the way, the glove box is falling off its hinge, but that's a story for another day. And that key, the emergency key, goes inside the thing. So that's kind of interesting. So anyways, I'm gonna go get a new battery now. All right, let's try and do our battery and see if this works. New battery. Key fob. Snap. All right, I'm gonna put the cool cover back on. Did I do that right? All right, cover's on. Magic. Oh, it worked because the mirror's just closed for some reason. I think I'm locked in here. How's this key going? Does it slide in? Holy smokes. This little key is supposed to go inside here. I don't know how it goes though. Oh, look at that. It's like a little secret key in there for some reason. I'm not sure why. I mean, I know why, but I'm not sure why. Okay. All right, it works. Let's do this. You guys see? There we go. So one thing I learned today, wow, how do we turn the volume down? So one thing I learned today too is I called the Alfa Romeo dealer because we already had stuff showing up. And I just noticed that my girlfriend just left me with no gas in this thing because the dealership didn't give us any gas either. And we've got a service engine light on, and we've got an automatic start stop light is on, and they said give it 24 hours and it'll hopefully clear. And also don't start the Alfa Romeo, like don't put it into drive until it's rested for like 30 seconds or a minute. So I'm going to start doing that. And they said that might be causing the lights on the dashboard, so we'll see. I'll keep you posted. But hey, at least we now have 2 working key fobs. Thank you to the dealer for not like checking the key fobs either, but we'll talk more about that also. One thing I learned when I researched it is if your key fob on your Alfa Romeo or probably any other car is the battery is out on it, The Alfa Romeo actually has a little secret compartment in the armrest that you can put the key fob on, and that will allow you to start the car. And then the secret key that's inside the key fob, that allows you to unlock the door if the battery is dead on it. And all that key allows you to do is open and close the door. And I don't know if that key is good for all Stelvios, so don't go around stealing people's stuff out of their Stelvios because you got one of those keys or something like that. But that's the secret of the secret key. Now you know. This next segment, we look at the mirror. I noticed it as I was filling up the car with gas that the mirror was broken on there. So the car definitely got in an accident at some time, because you can see a dent there. There's a chunk out of the tire there. And then I just noticed this is missing. The little light thing on the mirror. Because it should have one of those on it. For the mirror, we ordered a replacement turn signal from eBay, and that's on its way. And I hope that should be a pretty easy change out. But you could tell the dealer had replaced that wheel well trim, and then there was that dent and the chunk out of the tire in the mirror. So that car definitely was in a fender bender. The Carfax showed up clean, but just be aware that when you're investigating a car, look for these little details or indicators that might show it might have been in an accident or a fender bender. Another thing we noticed was the steering wheel was worn in a couple places. Not a big deal, not going to ruin our love of the car or anything like that. I did watch a YouTube video on how to fix that, and I don't know if I have the confidence to do that because it involves sanding and spray paint and so forth. So for now, we're just going to live with it. All right, so the day I finally got it filled with gas, I'm driving around trying to get it registered, and that check engine light came on, and it was auto start stop. I tried to get it e-check that gave me a code. The code wasn't really telling me a whole lot of good information. And so I did stop at the e-check station, and I did ask the guys. Okay, so I'm trying to get the car registered, and in Ohio you still have to get an e-check. So I'm trying to get an e-check and it failed. But that's probably because this check engine light came on when we started it earlier today. So I'm gonna ask the e-check guys what I can do. Suffice to say, the guys had no good information for me. They're like, oh, go to one of these registered repair places. And I said, okay, cool. And then I did not go to one of those registered repair places. What I did was drive around, got a temporary tag, jumped through some other hoops and things, getting some title stuff taken care of. And then wouldn't you know it, the check engine light went out and I got it re-e-checked and it passed. And so we are good to go on that front, and there's no more check engine light. And so I think it does come down to sometimes you start that car too fast, the computer doesn't have time to catch up, and it wants to throw a code at you. Knock on wood, we're gonna try and hopefully avoid getting that engine light to come on anymore. All right, so I'm gonna show you one other thing we just noticed about the Stelvio that is interesting that the dealer did not disclose to us, and we just noticed it today, is the dashboard leather is shrunk on it all around that vent. You can see it lifting up around this vent here. And then also it lifted up on this vent as well. You can see the exposed staples and everything. So add that to the punch list of things that we have to repair. Once again, was not disclosed to us. I don't think anything like happened. I think that's just a normal occurrence that happens with leather dashboards on these cars and other cars. And so I'm surprised they didn't say something about it, because now as soon as you see it, it's clear as day. And if you were inspecting the car, that would have been one of the things I would have mentioned to somebody. Hey, the dashboard's separating. We're not going to do anything about it, but just want to let you know. And as you guys know, I'm just not a big fan of surprises. I'm a pretty reasonable person, but that would have been nice to know about that instead of the surprise of exposed staples and separated dash. For the dashboard, I researched it and I reached out to several upholstery companies near me in Northeast Ohio here, and I got quotes from at least two. A third one said come on in, and then the fourth one that was highly recommended said they wouldn't be able to do it, but I'm not sure they had quite understood the assignment. So the Alfa Romeo has a leather dash. It's got white stitching. We specifically wanted that. You can get lesser trims with just a rubber kind of dashboard, but we really like the Lusso package that had the leather. And the quote I got back was $900,000 from one place, $1,800 from another. To buy a new dash, I have no idea what that would cost. And the challenge with getting an aftermarket or a used dash, I should say, is we have the crema interior, or that cream interior. And I thought the dashboard part with the leather would just be the top part and we could replace that. But no, you have to replace the entire dashboard. So you have to find one that has the leather with the white stitching on it. And you have to find one that's crema interior. And those are impossible to find. If you got black, red, or brown, you'd be fine getting a whole new dash. And you might actually save some money versus getting it reupholstered. So for now, we're gonna hit the pause button and just live with our exposed, stretched, shrunk dash, and maybe save up our pennies for next year to get that fixed. As an aside, I would love to learn interior car upholstery, but I'm not necessarily going to just rush and learn that in August of this year just to fix the dash, but it is on my mind. Okay, so I noticed that the hinge, or the glove box, was a little ajar, right? Like it doesn't look like it's on there very well, or it's just misaligned. So when you open it, the whole freaking thing falls down like that. Look at that whole hinge is shattered all the way across. And now I gotta try and figure out how to get it off unattached so I can see what's going on. So there you can see there's a track of some sort. And then a little clip in there. So I'm gonna undo that clip and then it should come out. We went underneath and figured out we have to pull the whole dashboard apart. It would not be able to undo that little clip that I saw. And so we watched a video online and it was informative, but it's not an easy task to do. You have to reach under there. It's tough to see what's going on. There's a lot of different screw types in there. There's a lot of hidden screws. I think there's 4 or 6 down below, 3 inside, and a couple other miscellaneous screws. And the glove box is kind of flopping around because it's broken. And then even the hinge on the far left was broken as well too. So this definitely had been broken before. It's not something that happened in transit. It's not something that we did. Somebody had to have noticed this, and unfortunately they didn't. And so we continued to take the dashboard apart. And you can definitely tell like someone had put the screw in and out, and that it's shattered. You can see the whole hinge assembly is shattered. So someone had been in here before. All right, good news is I got the glove box assembly completely out. Let's take a look at it and see what's going on. That's the side of it. All right, I'm gonna take this apart a little bit and we'll see what's going on. I got the glove box out of the Stelvio and there was a lot of broken parts throughout it. Not only was the hinge shattered, but there were side pieces that were the stops to keep it from coming completely out, and other parts that I didn't even know what they were, but they were snapped on all around the entire glove box. The glove box is 2 parts, an inner part that bolts to the dash and the outer glove box part, and both parts had broken pieces on them. Once I got it all disassembled, you could see how many parts and pieces. Now I could glue them back on there and try, and that's still an option. I might try that, but I could also replace the entire glove box assembly. I got the part number off the back of the glove box, and once again, looking on eBay, you can find every color but cream on there. You can find red, black, and brown pretty easily. I looked at the fascia and it didn't seem like I'd be able to pull that off, so I think I need a whole new assembly. I did get a quote from this online store, and it was about $950 plus shipping for the entire assembly, both the outer part and the inner part, and that might even include the lights that are on there too. And just a side note, when you go to put this back in there, there are 2 or 3 plugs that you have to plug in. One's for the little light, and that blue cable is for the little sensor that decides if the glove box is open or closed. Okay, so while I'm in here changing the glove box, I also am going to check that cabinet air filter. There's a better video for this. I'll share a link in it, but the air filter's way back there. I got the clip off of this little like foamy air vent, which is kind of strange, but I just tucked it back away. Now on ours, we've got this cord, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna get that cord in the background there. Okay, I've got a 2019 and I cannot get that drain hose out, but I was able to work around it and get the cover off. And I read in the comments of another video that I'll share in the bottom, this clip at the bottom holds it in place. And by the way, they never even put that screw back in, and I don't think I'm going to either. All right, I got a hold of the filter, and I'm trying to pull it out. And it's getting caught on everything. Holy smokes. This is like giving birth to something. Oh yeah, that's dirty. Oh, fudge. Look at that. Fudge. All right, we need a new filter. That one's disgusting. What a mess. What a disaster back there. All right, so I went to AutoZone, and this is the STP filter that I got, the cabin air filter, and we're gonna put that back in there. You can see it's gonna go way back in there. All right, something I did see in the video, and I'm gonna do it also, is there's an air filter area. I wish I had a better light. I'm gonna spray it with Lysol, which will kill 99.9% of the germs, and then the 0.1% of germs can just have fun, you know, doing their thing. All right, I'm gonna let that air out a little bit. I got the cabin air filter out, the new one, and it's got a rigid top and bottom, and then the pleated center is kind of squishy. The Alfa Romeo engineers designed this thing so horribly from an access standpoint that you try to put it in there and the whole thing basically collapses. And I tried 5 or 6 times and finally got it in there good enough. We want to do things perfect in life, but this was good enough, and I hope it's in there. I hope it's not squished halfway in there, but I got the door back on. And funny story, I've got a relative that actually was an engineer for Mopar or Stellantis, and talked to him about it. And they said oftentimes, you know, engineers and of the different systems don't talk to each other. My 2019 had this hose in the way. I never could get that hose out of the way. I had it kind of like, I couldn't unhook it. I had to squeeze it over to the side and then get access to that door. The door didn't have a screw at the bottom, but I re-clipped it in at the top and the bottom, so it's in there securely. Long story short, changing this cabin air filter should not be this difficult, and I think it's what led to my glove box being destroyed, because either somebody tried to do it without removing the glove box, or they destroyed the glove box when they removed it. I'm just not sure, but it certainly is a bad design, and Alfa Romeo is not the only one that does this. I've seen videos for Volkswagens and others that just, they need to talk to each other, and they need to do a better job designing these things. All right, so I got the cabin air filter changed. And now I'm just gonna put this dashboard back in here for now until we can order a new one and temporarily get this in place. So there'll be 3 screws up here. I'm not gonna put all 3 in there. I'll probably put this bolt down here. That side broke off, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I got the main glove box in there. This lower corner, I couldn't get that piece back in there because it broke off completely. And then this side of the glove box, there's really nothing supporting it, but it is holding in there because of the latch and stuff. Now I just got to put the bottom piece on. All right, I just put that trim piece back on the bottom. I didn't even screw anything in there. It's snapped fit in for now, and then the side piece too. So. All right, there you have it. All the little details on our 2019 Stelvio that we noticed. I covered a lot of ground in this video, from the key fob to changing the air filter, the issues with the glove box and dashboard. So we covered a lot of ground. I'll put links to the couple videos that helped me with that cabin air filter. That filter was a pain in the butt. And a lot of times when you work on dashboards, it's tough too, because you're like in a weird position. So that doesn't make it any easier either. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your friends and family. And also hit the subscribe button. We're up to 8 subscribers. You know, let's get that 9th one on the roster. That would be awesome. And I will see you next time, you guys. Cheers. Thanks for joining me.